Hello friends, I hope all of your gardens are doing well this summer. We have been busy here at Harvest of Joy Farm, and I haven't been doing very many videos, but this morning we're doing something that I thought might be interesting to some of you if you haven't done it before, and that is hand pollinating squash. So I have a big long row of squash plants here, and I have three different species. I have Cucurbita machata, which is the butternut family. I have Cucurbita maxima, and that one is Uncle David's dessert squash, is my maxima this year. And then I have two Cucurbita peepos. I have a naked seeded pumpkin, Syrian pumpkins, and I have Thelma Sanders acorn squash. So generally most of the squashes that you're going to be growing in your gardens are going to fall into one of those three species. And the species won't cross-pollinate across species. So for example, my butternut squash will not cross-pollinate with my acorn squash, but they will cross-pollinate within species. So my Syrian pumpkins will cross-pollinate with my acorns, and like zucchinis are also in the peepo family. So if I had some zucchinis back here, which I don't, they could also cross-pollinate. So when we're saving seeds and we're wanting the plants that we grow from those seeds to be true to type. So if I want my Thelma Sanders acorn seeds to grow me a Thelma Sanders acorn squash, then we hand pollinate so to prevent that cross-pollination. So I just wanted to show you a little bit of that process. Squashes have male and female flowers. So if you look here, we have, they're pretty easy to tell apart. Our male flowers are up on these stems here. That's a male flower. And then the female flowers are closer to the main stem and have a small fruit, a small ovary attached to them. So I'm going to pick this, and then I'm going to move over to show you a female flower. So you can see what we did last night is we came through this patch and we taped closed some of these male flowers that hadn't opened yet, that were going to open this morning had we not taped them closed. And so now this morning we're out here. I'm going to pick off this male flower, and I'm going to go over here to where Mr. John Edgerton is, and he is kneeling by a female flower. So if you can see the difference here, right? Here's my male flower, and here is my female flower. So if you see here, we've got a little baby acorn squash ovary there. And we've close-pinned this shut. So we close-pinned and taped these flowers shut last night so that this morning the flowers would not open. If they open, then bees will get inside them and cross-pollinate them. So instead, we're going to do that work of pollination that the bees would normally do. So, John Edgerton, would you demonstrate for us how to do this process?
So I've already taken the flower, the actual the petals off of two of these, and I'm going to take this one off as well. We always want to look down here. I had to discard one earlier today. An insect had already, a wild bee had already worked its way in. We just peel this back so we can use this. You can see some pollen dropping off there right now. We can use this as a paintbrush. You always want to wait to take your clothespin off of your female flower last, because if you open it up while you're playing around, it's awful easy for a bee or another pollinator to get in there. So I'm going to rotate this up a little bit so I can see it better and you can see better in there.
There we go. That's the inside of the female flower. Isn't that gorgeous?
Yeah. So I'm just going to take and brush down, actually take a little bit more of this off so we don't damage too much of that petal, because we want to be able to close that back up. So I'm just barely touching or swabbing that area Bees need to, a lot of bees will need to visit a squash blossom or a cantaloupe or watermelon blossom, any of the cucurbits, a lot of times. So we're doing 3 blossoms partly for that, but also so we ensure some genetic diversity in this. We're not doing breeding work now, so we're not selfing this plant. So that should be enough.
So we're using at least 3 male flowers per each female flower.
Use this one since
so we're going to do actually 4 on this one here, because we got this extra one here. And you know, usually your plants are going to throw a lot more male flowers than they will female flowers, and so we're kind of mimicking what the plant will be doing for pollination too.
This late in the day, the pollen is really already mature and falling off.
So we were actually out here a little bit late this morning. We were decided to have breakfast first, and we got into a really interesting conversation, and then time got away from us. So
we should have brought some tape with us too, just in case we can't get.
We should have brought some tape with us. Normally, we will at this point we're going to close this flower back up again, and to prevent bees from getting into it at this point, right? Because it hasn't fertilized yet, so we want to make sure that just the pollen we put in there gets in there. And so normally we forgot to bring some tape back with us. Maybe we'll go back and get some of that. Normally we would just really tape those petals closed, and then once this ovary here is fertilized, this flower will fall off. This is super important. You can see we have tied a piece of orange flashing tape around the stem here, so that when we go to harvest our squashes, we will remember and we will know that this is one that we hand pollinated, and so we'll set that aside for seeds. And then we'll sample. One of the nice things about squash is the seeds are ripe at the same time that the squash is ripe. So you know, we'll eat these squashes, and if they have good flavor, if they're good keepers, we will save the seeds from them and plant them again next year. So this Thelma Sanders is a tan acorn. It's a really great keeper, and it's really wonderful flavor. It's an heirloom that was introduced to me through Nature and Nurture Seeds. So and I'm not even a big fan of acorns, and I really like it. So if you haven't,
it stores extremely well.
So shout out to Thelma Sanders. All right, well, this is a fun thing to play with if you've got a little time. Home with the Pandemic. It's also a great genetics lesson for kids. So have fun.